Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Listen up, Phil and Ryan. Quick turnaround from just yesterday's game against Louisville. Great win from UConn, but back on for the last check-in already against the Butler Bulldogs. And then, of course, another game, I believe, on the 20th as they travel up to Toronto, I believe it is. So quick turnaround for UConn. Hopefully they're ready for Butler. But the Butler Bulldogs come into this game the same record as UConn. You usually wouldn't expect that out of this Butler team. They're both 7-3. Like I said, Butler, they really haven't had the best seasons these past years, but seems like they're definitely having a better start this year to the season. They've won the last four out of their last five games, and hope that their experienced roster can catapult them towards the top of the Big East this season. This will be the first Big East matchup for both of these teams, and it's going to be interesting since we're posting this on Sunday. It's going to be interesting to see where UConn is ranked in the new AP poll for the new week and see where how they come into this game as far as their ranking. But as far as the Bulldogs roster goes, like I said, a very experienced team. There are a couple new faces on this Butler squad. Senior guard Ari Wiggins came over from Michigan. Senior forward Rachel Kent was previously with the IUPUI Jaguars, and sophomore forward Lily Stoddard spent last year with Purdue. So three new faces for this Butler Bulldogs team, two of which are in the starting lineup, which includes Ari Wiggins and Rachel Kent. But it also includes guard Chloe Strand, who leads the team in points and rebounds. She spent her first 2 years in Minnesota and the last two with Butler, and she's really made a pretty big difference for this team and is a big reason why they're kind of trending upwards this year. But Butler, I researched them a little bit. It seems like they take about 20 to 25 three-point shots per game. So you could say they're a live and die type of team as far as the three-point shots go. Chloe Strand, Rachel Kent, and Jordan Mullimans are a main three-point threats for this team. And as good as the Bulldogs have played this season, I still don't think they're quite on the level as far as competing with UConn and kind of, making it a close game. I'm really not expecting this game to be too close, especially with how much momentum UConn has right now. It's another home game in Hartford, Connecticut at the XL Center. But as UConn navigates through their Big East schedule, the conference definitely is getting a lot better as a whole as far as the Big East conference goes.
All right, Ryan. Yeah, so I'm glad you did your research because I didn't. No, I'm just kidding. I'm looking now, but no, I mean it looks like rebounding. It looks like it's pretty even as far as giving up to their opponents 34 rebounds a game, and then Butler averages about 34 rebounds per game. Yeah, you're right. I mean, we'll have predictions and comments here in just a couple seconds. I'm taking UConn easily, Ryan. I'll give you the score here at the end. But what do you think as far of course, we wasn't aware of the game on what is it, on the 20th for UConn?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think now with did that game get plugged in this week? Or tell me about that game because I wasn't even aware. I wanted this long break for UConn, but now we won't get it.
Yeah, well, I thought it was weird on the ESPN schedule that there was just a long break between the 18th and the 31st. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't even aware of it. I remember UConn mentioning it because Gino is doing this thing for all four of the seniors, I believe, and of course, Aaliyah being from Canada in Toronto. Wants to, have a homecoming game, but I didn't realize it was on the 20th because, of course, ESPN doesn't have it posted on the app or the site. But yeah, I mean, definitely a quick turnaround. But yeah, I didn't realize it either until they put it on the Fox graphic yesterday.
All right. So their most recent three, going back to Butler, their most recent three. Yeah, because after this game recap tomorrow, Ryan, I was figuring on a week off and get rested up. But you said no, they got another game in between there. But going over the last three games, that is going back to Butler. So they had a win over Wisconsin, and then Vanderbilt, Ryan, beat them 51-39. And then you look at Chicago State. Butler beat Chicago State 84-51. And then you have UConn tomorrow at 7 o'clock on the schedule. I'm like you. I like this stretch of home games for UConn, that they've had. Let's go ahead and go ahead over into comments. Go ahead and read some of them. How about Jane Adams, Ryan? Jeanette Adams, excuse me. Who said UConn is broken? Good prediction, guys. You both nailed it. Paige defensively was just sick.
Yeah, and she really has been these past couple games. And like I said during the game recap, she's just kind of in the right place at the right time as far as getting the blocks. But a lot of it also has to do with hustle plays. And that's really from the whole entire team. I think you can really see now when watching these past couple games, the hustle from everybody is really there. Just overall, just fighting for the ball, getting rebounds. And that's really how UConn has to win some of these games is just from all out hustle and just continued energy and pace throughout the whole entire game since they have to, kind of force with all these injuries to put out a smaller lineup for most of the game.
All right. How about let's go down here to Violet. Aubrey has been showing why she was a top guard since last season. Draft her as soon as possible. This level of athleticism is something you don't want to miss. Since the WNBA contains some older players, no offense, bringing in someone fast, young, athletic, can finish through contact, an amazing rebounder, can block shots. I rarely see Aubrey making mistakes. Even if she did, it's normal for a player. I love Aubrey. She deserves so much recognition. Yeah, I mean, she's right, Ryan. I mean, this person is talking about what usually one player doesn't bring to the table to a team, but Aubrey has everything in the package, right?
Yeah, she kind of reminds me a little bit of Avina Westbrook when she played. I believe she came over from Tennessee, and she kind of started some games and came off the bench some games, but she really understood her role, and I think that's what Aubrey does so well. She just understands what her role is, no matter if she starts, comes off the bench, no matter how many minutes she gets, but she definitely deserves to get a lot of minutes, 20 plus every single game for the entire rest of the season because she makes such a big impact for this team every single game. Maybe started the season a little bit inconsistent, but that was pretty much as far as the whole team goes. Didn't really have the best start, but I think as the team started going, Aubrey started picking it up just like everybody else, and she's really going to be a big part for the whole rest of the season.
Jason D'Amico, I would be honored to come back. There he is, Ryan. I would be honored to come back on the show, perhaps the Marquette game. Everyone ate today. This was a great win because UConn did the small things well. Only one critique. We are still having issues against the press, something that might cause issues later if not corrected immediately. Great show, fellas. Peace. Yeah, Ryan, you go back to that Ohio State game, and that's what happened.
Yeah, well, maybe Jason can take my spot for the Marquette game because we learned last night and this morning that I might unfortunately might not be able to come on for that one.
There
So
you go.
maybe Jason can handle the game recap and come on
Yeah.
with you for that game. But yeah, hopefully the press from UConn really doesn't as far as opponents putting them on them because I'm sure we all remember what happened last year in March Madness when they played Ohio State. So I think that's definitely something that Gino and the coaching staff has to focus on for a lot of these practices, getting the team ready for that kind of thing, especially as we get closer to crunch time later in the season.
This person says, where's the guy that said the UConn dynasty is over? Well, it wasn't, I should correct myself. It wasn't one person, Ryan. It was the media, the media out there writing. So again, he goes, UConn is the standard. Yeah, I mean, well, we all knew that. But again, people are so quick to jump, Ryan, after just one loss. And we talk about it all the time in sports. There's a difference between, that's why they call it regular season and postseason, right? How about one more, Ryan? Slow down. Jay Johnson goes, slow down, Phil. UConn looked great today. And if they can continue playing at a faster pace, that will be their key to success. with the smaller lineup, but I wouldn't be hinting at South Carolina on Super Bowl Sunday, February 11th. He figured that one out, especially since the game is at South Carolina. UConn is a different and better team at home than on the road. Let's wait a bit longer to see if they can be consistent through mid-January first before we poke the number 1 team. I will tell you this, Ryan. Let's see if you agree with me on this. They at least have, if it's a loss, it's a loss. You don't want to hear it, and nobody else does. If it's a loss, it's a loss. I'll digest it. Let me tell you this. If UConn is shown that they can at least stick with them through, I'll tell you, the first 2 quarters or the last 2 quarters, so 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, that's going to be reason for me to maybe throw my hat down, and I won't say no more. They at least have to stick with them.
Well, ideally, you'd want them to stick with South Carolina the whole game and really make it a competitive game the whole way through. Even if they do lose, at least that's something positive to take away from the game. But I mean, we've really been talking outside of these episodes, just on our own, and we really do believe that UConn can win every single game, except for that South Carolina game, which is obviously the biggest test of the season. It's really grown into, a type of rivalry throughout these past couple seasons with how good South Carolina has been. So it's always the game of the year for both teams, and perhaps all of women's hoops as far as the regular season goes. So everybody's definitely looking forward to it. But hopefully, like they said, UConn can carry this momentum, keep it consistent as we go into that South Carolina game. And I think if they do that, I do believe they have a good chance to go into South Carolina, as tough as it is, and at least make it a really good game and maybe even win.
Finally, Ryan, like so many people wanted, finally getting into some Big East conference play. Who do you have tomorrow night? You can start it off with our predictions.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really expect this game to be a close game, even though Butler does look a lot better than the past couple seasons. If Butler does come out and starts draining a lot of threes, perhaps then they can make it maybe just a little bit closer than what we expected. But I'm going to go 88-61 UConn in this one.
Okay, Ryan. You have head coach Austin Parkinson. His squad comes in tomorrow. Ryan, I'll take UConn as well. I'll go 90. How about that? I'll go 90-60. Yeah, 30-point game. 90-60. They'll put up, UConn will start pouring it on to start this big run of conference play, Ryan, to shoot the fireworks off, right? All right, Ryan, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, and I will see you approximately 2 hours after tip-off. It's Phil and Rye on Listen Up.